All right, thanks for tuning in to another edition of the Prime Sports Horse Report, Prime Sports Radio Network, which is now on the internet. I think I could scratch radio, actually. No more radio, John. The
No
Prime
more.
Sports Video Network. I still have some of my logos that say radio, but what are you going to do? All right, so we have the first leg of the Triple Crown, the Belmont Stakes. How crazy is this, John? And it's not even, it's only what, a mile and an eighth?
Yes, that's correct. They didn't want to start these horses off going a mile and a half as the first leg. Otherwise, they probably would have had about 4 or 5 horses. So they did the right thing. They cut it back to a mile and an eighth. Problem is, even if a horse happens to win all 3 legs, it's not going to be like a Triple Crown because part of the whole feat is winning those 3 races over a 6-week period.
Stupid.
And now it's stretching till October or September 5th or whatever, when they're going to run the Derby, followed by the Preakness. So even if a horse happens to pull it off, there will be a serious asterisk next to his name.
Yeah, no, it won't mean nothing. And when is the Preakness after the Kentucky Derby?
Yeah, a few weeks after the Derby.
So it's like a normal kind of deal, 2 or 3 weeks after the Derby?
Right.
Okay. But the Derby is when? The second week of September?
September 5th or 7th.
Oh, the first week of September. Okay.
Yeah,
they talked about, I think I just heard that they had to reschedule the Kentucky College football opener the Thursday night, which means they'll probably have a boatload of fans in attendance for the opener of the college football season and then the Derby 2 days later. So,
right. And then there's another problem because they're going to run the Travers, which is like they usually call it the Midsummer Derby.
Okay.
And that's going to be run sometime in August at Saratoga. So all these races, and you have the Haskell. I don't know how they're going to pull all this off, but obviously they're going to try.
So really, if the Travers would have been should have been the first leg of the Triple Crown.
Right. That's what I would have done, but no one listens to me.
So. No, they don't. All right, so before we talk about the Belmont Stakes, we're going to go into race 9. This is the race just before the Belmont Stakes. So, of course, if you are in full belief that Tiz the Law, the heavy favorite of the Belmont Stakes, is going to win, then potentially getting a double here might be just as good. Basically, it gives you 2 chances for an exacta and a double. So I think in that respect, that's not a bad thing. So anyway, it's a Grade 1 race. And I believe there's like 4 Grade 1 races on the card tomorrow, which is ridiculous if you take a look at the horses, because just by looking at the horses, maybe you'd be lucky to have 1 Grade 1 race. But hey, you know what? More power to the horses and the owners who are going to be, getting those roses and checks for races that they don't even deserve to be in, right?
Well, I wouldn't say that. Listen, usually on Belmont Stakes, they like to load the card up with stake races and make it, a big day, kind of like a Breeders' Cup day. Or if it's the final leg of the Triple Crown and a horse is going for the Triple Crown, they like to make that day like something special. And
this is not special tomorrow.
Well, it's kind of special. They wrote all these graded stake races. The problem is that the fields are so short, it's pretty hard to find any value, to be honest with you. And there certainly have been better gambling cards. Tomorrow's not a great gambling card, to tell you the truth.
All right, let's get started with race 9, and I'm already I've got 3 pages here on the daily racing form, and on the 3rd page is the number 8, so I'm going to already throw that one out. So I've got 2 pages because the 8 doesn't, we're not even going to get involved with that one. All right, so let's start here with the 1 Kanthaka. Now, I like Kanthaka because of the odds at 10-1. Also, you get the rider change to Ortiz, first race of the year for this horse. But I like the odds, even though it's a new trainer. But I'm willing to say, okay, 9 sheet number, first time out on turf. So hopefully with the trainer change, and again, the trainer change is equal. It's not better, worse. So, but just a trainer change, second ride out on turf. Hopefully, you'll get an improvement on the second one. Also, this horse has won from the pole before. This is where he is. He's in the one position, not a good position, but he has won from the one position before. So for a 10-1 shot, I'm going to actually put the one in my exacta.
Okay.
All right, pros, cons.
Did you want me to comment on
Yeah,
every
pros,
horse?
cons. The number one.
Well, the pros is that he's breaking from the rail, and that's about it. I mean, obviously he's going to save ground. The problem is, you got to figure out what you're going to need to win this race. If you think a 9 is good enough, well, then this horse could certainly win. However, I don't think a 9 is going to be good enough. I think there are horses here that could run better than a 9. And the real problem with this horse is that he's coming off of a layoff of almost a year. So he's got to come back, be ready to run the best or better than he's ever run off of a year layoff. He is a new gelding. He's been gelded for the first since his last race. So yes, a 9 is certainly a possible number. The question is, though, is a 9
No,
going to
no.
be
I
good?
mean, that's why I'm saying I'm not. There's no way I'm going in this taking the one thinking that another 9 is going to get it done. That's why if he's going to get it done, he has to improve the second time out on turf. Otherwise, yeah, there's no way I'm going to win this if he has another 9. Got to take a step forward. So the rail is better on short distance compared to long distance.
Well, the rail is always good, and sprinting it's better than going long because there's no chute involved. They start on,
What do you mean
up
by that?
when they run further than 6 furlongs, there's something called the chute where there's no rail and they're kind of running uphill a little bit. It's an advantage to be outside.
Okay, that's interesting.
Going
I
long
never knew that
7
before.
to longer,
Shoot.
right?
Okay.
Yeah, it's called the chute.
All right. Okay. The number 2 is going to be my top play of the day. Alexandra, 6 different racetrack in the last 6 races. This horse is right now about a 4-1 shot. I like the fact that he's improved his last 3 times out, 10-8-6. So his best was a 6 last time out. He'll have almost a month since that 6. Let's see. I also like the fact he's been 7 straight inside the money. He's 2 for 2 wins at Belmont, 5 for 5 at the distance. So there's about 5 horses that are similar to this horse as far as your choice plus the odds. But this is the way I'm going to go. I'm going to go with the 2.
Nothing wrong with this horse. Obviously, she came back and she ran the best race of her life at the age of 6. That's not always the greatest thing. I would have liked a little more time since that race because horses have a tendency to react off of big races. It's by far the best race she's ever run in her life. The pluses are that she has won at Belmont in the past, and you're getting Rosario and Neil Drysdale, and they're also getting weight from the rest of the field. She's in with 117 pounds. Most of the rest of the competition is carrying anywhere from 120 to 124 pounds. So she gets a break in weight, which is certainly a plus. Again, nothing wrong with this horse. Certainly a major player in here.
All right, 4 wins in 6 races with Rosario on board. The number 3, Texas Wedge. You got Castellano and Pete Miller combination. The thing about this horse, you take a look, and it's the same thing with the 1. Excuse me, not the 1, the 2. That it would be will you tell me, how concerned what is the time period that you want to look at when a horse runs an all-time best? How far out do you want that best to be? Do you want it 3 weeks, 6 weeks, 2 months?
Right.
How far out before you think,
no,
it's too short of a period of time?
You would like 6 weeks.
At least 6 weeks. Okay. So that is the one concern with the 2 and the 3 is that they're both coming off their best race less than 6 weeks ago.
That's exactly correct. The 3 is a gelding running against the 2. I should say is a female horse running against colts and geldings. That's why she's getting the weight break. But you're right, and also it's more important for fillies and mares to have more time off than colts or geldings. Colts or geldings seem to not react as much as a female horse would react. So that's why this horse may have a little edge over the 2.
Okay.
And this horse is 4-1, and the 2 is 7-2. They're pretty evenly matched. Yeah. What I could tell you is that Texas Wedge was a faster horse last year than Alexandra was. Alexandra only able to run tens, where this horse at least had a couple of eights and a seven last year. So if I was choosing between the 2 and 3, I probably would give a slight edge to the 3.
Okay, the 4 is one of the favorites at 5-2, Pure Sensation, and it's also, I believe, the oldest horse in the field at 9 years old, 36 starts. I think 20% career wins, almost 50% on turf. So that's, I'm sure, one of the main reasons he's a favorite. Also gets Ortiz, which is a nice little bump up as far as the rider is concerned. First race of the year for Pure Sensation. Now, this is a very consistent horse if you just take a look at what he did sheets-wise last year. But for a favorite, a heavy favorite, shouldn't you be concerned when you have an old horse making his first start after such a long layoff? Because from that year to this year, we have no idea when the fall's coming.
Exactly. But here's the reason that I may not take that point of view.
Okay.
This is a turf horse.
Yep.
And the last time he ran was last November. He ran last November, and then the turf season went away because this horse is based on the East Coast, and there is no East Coast race,
Sure.
no turf race in New York, certainly. I mean, they would have had to ship this horse to Florida or to California if they wanted him to run on the grass. Listen, the problem is he's 9 years old, like you said. However, he's certainly a model of consistency. He never really runs a bad race. And we could have said the same thing last year. He was coming off of the same layoff that he's coming off of this year as an 8-year-old. He came out of the box and he won.
Yes.
This horse has a license to win. The problem with this horse is he's going to be the favorite.
Yeah. And we don't know whether or not his best days are behind him.
Exactly. I mean, sooner or later you reach the end of the line. You don't see many 9-year-olds run, and you certainly don't see many 9-year-olds run these kind of numbers that this horse runs.
Yeah.
You have to respect the connections. Christopher Clement is one of the best trainers in the world, and he's having another terrific meet at Belmont. Everything he's sending out is running. If this horse won, it would be absolutely no surprise.
And Ortiz is also one of the best riders in the biz right now.
He got Ortiz to ride. So, I have no knocks on this horse other than he's a 9-year-old.
And the odds, of course.
Right. And we're getting older, too. So what the heck?
Yeah, we're not racing, though. Stubbins is another favorite at 3-1. I'm not really quite sure why Stubbins is getting the respect, just like Pure Sensation. O'Neill is the trainer. First time at Belmont, first time the distance. There are a few things I can see that do make sense of why the horse has been a lot better lately. He had the win at the Woodford. That was in October. You can forgive the Breeders' Cup race. We've talked about that before. But then he gets the thing I did not like was the start he got off to last month when he ran a 9 and finished third.
Yeah, I mean, listen, at 3-1, you're really supposed to play against this horse. You saw the 2, 3, and 4. All of these horses have 6s.
Yes.
So why would you bet? And they're all longer prices, with the exception of the 4 Pure Sensation, who's only one tick below this horse.
And this horse doesn't have anything better than an 8.
Exactly. So why would we want to play this horse?
Wouldn't.
I mean, part of the edge of using sheets is to throw out bad favorites. And this is a bad favorite. And, at 3-1, this is a play against.
Yeah, we need better odds than 3-1.
I would attack this race is by playing against this horse.
Okay, the 6 is Hidden Scroll, who ran a 6 in March, but then a 12. Now, explain to me, here's a horse that had never run on turf before. Last race in June, a few weeks back, here at Belmont, he ran his first turf race, but had problems, I guess, but didn't. So do we hold that? So what happened there?
What happened was the gate opened up and the horse stumbled and lost the rider. So you could absolutely draw a line through that race.
But since it's his first on turf, do we hold it against him?
No, you don't hold it. We don't nothing.
So we
about
don't.
it.
So we're saying that happened, and that 100% that would have happened whether it was dirt or turf.
No, he stumbled and lost the rider. We don't know. We don't. It wasn't because of the turf that he stumbled.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You are 100% sure that had nothing to do with it.
100% sure. Not only that, the fact that a trainer like Bill Mott would bring him right back and run him back on the grass is a positive sign.
Okay.
problem with this horse is I would have trouble betting this horse because what betting him off of what? He never ran on the turf. You
Yeah,
could try to bet him off the breeding, which is okay. I was curious to one. I was really curious why they even tried him on the grass. It looks to me like it's a desperation move. Like he's not good enough on the dirt to beat those kind of horses. So let's try him on the grass and give him another shot.
it is
You
kind of
know,
interesting too. Like the horse was not. I mean, whoever bought this horse, there's no big money there, and then he goes out in his second race and runs the Fountain of Youth, and then the
well,
third race runs the Florida Derby.
yeah, that's because his first race that he ever ran last year at Gulfstream was extremely impressive. They had high hopes for this horse. He's a bit of a nutcase. He gets in trouble all the time, and
Maybe he's just a slopper.
yeah, well, he could be a mutter.
Yeah,
Yeah, well, he could be a mutter.
yeah.
But listen, the best
But now
race
he's
of
on
his life,
turf.
right? And that's this is like a guess. If you bet a
Yeah.
horse like this, you're looking for some angle that really isn't there.
And
You
White
know,
Flag is also 8-1, first race of the year for White Flag. This horse has the best that he's ever ran. He's run a couple of sevens. He is 7 out of 7 in the money at Belmont, including 4 wins. He's coming off a bad effort last time out. A bad result. The odds are good. So, is there any reason that you would want to put this horse in your exacta?
Not really. I mean, he ran a sevens, like you said. However, that was 2 and 3 years ago. Last year, no sign of the sevens. The pluses for him is the trainer. It's Christopher Clement, the same guy that trains the 4 horse. But this horse certainly takes. Last year, he only had 3 races. The year before, he only had 5 races. He's getting older, and this is a horse where the age may have caught up to him. In my opinion, he doesn't seem to be the same horse that he used to be.
All right, so I'm going to go with the 1 and the 2. I'll probably throw a couple of bucks on the 1 to win as well to see if I can get lucky in a wide open race. What are you going to do?
Well, I'm kind of stuck between the 3 and the 4, I guess, but there's really no value here. It's not a kind of race that I would really get involved with, only because I respect the favorites, and they're not like foolproof favorites because there's certainly question marks surrounding them. The 4 pure sensation, like you said, is a 9-year-old coming back off of a layoff, even though every race that he's run in his last 5 races is probably good enough to win here. If he runs one of those sixes, he's going to be tough.
What about the odds? If
That's the whole point. Who are they going to bet?
Yeah, if the odds, if there's, give me a horse like Texas Wedge, then if those odds were to go up from 4-1, then you would really like that horse then.
Yeah, I would do the same thing with the 2. By the way,
Yeah.
if the 2 or 3 the odds went up, I would probably lean towards them. But if I had to make a selection, it would be the 4 pure sensation.
Okay, for John. All right, now let's go to the Belmont Stakes. And let's get started here. This is the way I've played this race. Of course, I'm going to put the 8 in there, Tis the Law with the exacta. But here's how I played it. I decided that with the 1 and the 2 as 2 of secondary favorites, both coming off their best races. They both ran a 6 in a very short period of time, like a week or 2 ago, both horses. So
Right.
I'm gonna forget about 1 and 2. I don't really see anything in the 5 because I just don't see anything there. I think that's just forget him. The 6 and the 7 are crap. The 10 gets worse the longer the races go, so I'm not interested in that. So what I've decided is okay, if Dr. Post, the second choice here, if Dr. Post, who hasn't really shown much, he's got 2 wins, both 8s, okay, all right, he's got Pletcher, he's going to be wagered after Tis the Law. If I get lucky and Dr. Post just gets out of my way, then my exacta is going to be 3, 4, and 8.
The 3 max player?
Yes. And
why?
I'm going to go with 3 and the 4. Both horses have improved over their last 3 races, and their best races were their last race. I take a look at, for instance, if I'm going to just take a look at the 3 and the 4, their best races were 9s, and Dr. Post, the second favorite, ran an 8, then all I need is either the 3 or the 4 to continue to get better like they have over the last 3 races. I need one of the 2 of them to hit a 8 or a 7, and if they finish second with the heavy favorite, then I have a halfway decent payout in the exacta, considering that everybody's going to pick the 8.
Okay.
That's my strategy. So let's go through the field, and you tell me, do you agree with the 1 and the 2, the fact that they both are coming off those big efforts? So, a few weeks ago.
Well, the one I certainly agree with you. The only edge that the one horse has is that he's going to be the speed of the race, and he may be the lone speed. He may get loose out there, but he has to react off of the 6. There's no time since that race, and I would play this horse to definitely bounce. I don't like the 1 at all.
Yeah, and what's the deal with the 2 running last week?
Well, obviously, the race took nothing out of the horse, or they would never bring him back in this spot. But if you look at the horse, really, what has he ever done wrong? He has 2 8s, and then he ran a 10 at Tampa. Then he took time off and he ran that 6. People, you could treat that 6 as if it was sort of a workout because of the fact that he's bringing him back on a week's layoff. I don't think it's the worst thing in the world, but I think it's going to hurt him later on. But the fact that the Triple Crown races are so well, there's so much time between them. He's probably going to run him tomorrow, and then he's going to rest him, till maybe sometime before the Derby, maybe, and certainly till the middle of August. Let's put it that way. I'm not as negative on the 2 as you are.
Well, again, I was just, but your point was why obviously why I have you on the show is that even though he ran last week, you're willing to look at it as I trust the trainer. It didn't take a lot out of him, so he may not bounce like it might look like he would.
Exactly. Everything you said is 100%
okay,
right.
So I'm gonna register that. Okay, so the 3 and the 4, which way would you go if you were choosing one of the 2 long shots there?
Well, if I had to go between the 3 and 4, I would go to the 4 for the simple reason that the 3, Max Player, has no foundation as a 2-year-old. No good races. He ran a 23 and a 16 in his first 2 races, where Modernist, the 4 horse, at least has a 13 as a 2-year-old. So that makes him that much faster. The 9 that Max Player ran, well, Modernist has 16, 13, 9 this year. So this horse really has a nice line on the sheet.
Yeah.
He's never done anything wrong. The other horse, Max Player, the 3, who's also the same price as the 4, he was coming off of a 7-point top last time out. True, he has plenty of time from that race and could repeat it, but so could Modernist. And if one of the 2 are more likely to make a forward move, I would think it would be Modernist.
Yeah, and the other thing too is the 4. He finished 3rd. He started at 14th position with 14 horses
at the fairgrounds, which is not an easy place to be.
Yeah, so I give him and by the way, hence the 9. So the sheets is telling you that even though he went from a 1st to a 3rd, that he had a lot of work to do to accomplish that 3rd.
Exactly. Not only that, there's really, the more I look at it, there's no comparison between the 3 and 4. I think the 4 is much stronger than the 3.
All right.
I don't know if the 4 is good enough to get in, but he's certainly stronger than the 3. If I had to bet a matchup 3 against the 4, I would bet the 4 all day long.
Okay. The 5, as I said, I don't really see anything here. 1 out of 6 lifetime. Hasn't won at this distance in 3 shots. This is just a Pletcher Castellano thing.
Yeah, and he's never run a single digit. I mean, Marcus has run a single digit. Sol Volante has run a single digit. Even Tap It to Win has run a single digit. This horse is too slow.
Yeah. Again, forget the 6 and the 7, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so now, let's ask you about the 10. Do you agree with me that it's problematic that this horse seems to get worse the longer the distance?
Well, what I don't like is the fact that he ran an 8 first time out, which is really good. And then he had enough time. He had like almost 2 months and went backwards. And then he had another 6 weeks off and made another backward move. So he is going in the wrong direction. He is a good trainer. It's Asmussen, obviously, and Santana. dynamic duo, no question about it. Listen, if the horse is ever going to make another forward move, it's going to be tomorrow. The thing I like about this horse is that this horse may like one turn. You see, a mile and an eighth at Belmont is one turn. These other races at Churchill and Oaklawn, and his last two starts, they were both around two turns. His running style, one turn may suit him better. It would really depend on the odds. I'm not crazy about the horse. I don't like the line because, again, he's going in the wrong direction. But
Yeah.
yeah, he does have a shot to get a piece, I guess, by default.
Okay, and then Dr. Post, before we get to the heavy favorite, Dr. Post is the 5-1 shot. Back-to-back eights this year, both of his wins. But again, you go from an 8 to an 8, so I'm not, we're not really seeing any improvement. But you have Pletcher and Ortiz, so you've got a dynamic combo there.
The second 8 though is very good because off the first 8 without much rest he didn't react. He kept it in the ballpark. He repeated numbers. We call it pairing up on the sheets, which is good. He has a shot to run a new top. He could possibly run a 6 off of this line. Wouldn't be impossible. In my opinion, this is Tiz the Law's main competition.
Oh yeah, there's no doubt this is the second best horse. That's why I was saying this is the horse out of the entire field that I'm just hoping doesn't hit. And if he doesn't, then I think I have a shot at the, good shot at a good price at the exacta. But we got to get this horse out of the way.
Right.
What are the chances of Dr. Post having his best race matching up against Tiz the Law?
It's going to come tomorrow. I mean, listen, it's Pletcher. He knows what he's doing, obviously. And again, the horse has 3 lifetime starts. The race as a 2-year-old meant nothing. It was a long time ago. It was last July, I believe. And he won. Well, he didn't win, but he had trouble that day in the race. And he came out as a 3-year-old and he ran an 8. And then he paired up numbers, again, which is strong. He's live to run a 6 here. And again, he will be Tiz the Law's main competition.
All right, talk me into if somebody was saying, you know what, I'm going to go Dr. Post to win. I've got 5-1, maybe 6-1 if I'm lucky, and I'm just going to put a win bet. That's good odds on a win bet. So tell me how Dr. Post beats Tiz the Law, or how Tiz the Law does not race. What is the reason that Tiz the Law is not as good as his numbers indicate?
Well, there's nothing to tell me that. So, to be honest with you, the only thing that could beat Tiz the Law is if Dr. Post runs a 5 off of the 8s, and Tiz the Law repeats the 7 that he ran last time out. But I don't think that's going to happen, to be honest with you.
How do you rate Tiz the Law if this was a real Triple Crown situation and we were in February or March and you had this horse in a race? How would you, or let's say it was in a prep race for the Derby, how would you rate him on a normal year if you had to compare him even to like the last couple of years, the same horses that were in the prep races?
He'd be good, but the problem is you'd probably see a couple of Baffert horses here, which we don't see. If this was a normal Triple Crown race, well, Baffert's main 2 contenders both got hurt, or Nadell and Charlton.
So Baffert, I didn't even realize that. He's not even in the race.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's not a normal Triple Crown race because Baffert always shows up with at least a couple of horses, So the fact that he's passing this, he had a horse named Authentic who ran a couple of weeks ago at Santa Anita, I guess would have been eligible for this race, but he didn't run well. He didn't win that day. So, he's stayed on the sidelines. So that kind of gives Tiz the Law, an edge because there's no Baffert killers in here that he's got to contend with. Listen, the race, in my opinion, is Tiz the Law, Sol Volante, and Dr. Post. Those are the 3 main contenders, in my opinion. Tiz the Law, obviously, the horse to beat. He has that 5 to go back to that no one's run yet. He's certainly eligible to run the 5 or better tomorrow. He's drawn well. He's outside. He's going to be tough to beat. No question about it. People don't tune in to get 6-5 shots. However, sometimes you have to take what they're giving you, and that's really the situation here.
All right, so your best exacta then is only going to end up being the 9 or the 2, is what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean,
all right. So who? Give me your second place horse.
Well, I would probably go with Dr. Post, and third would be Sol Volante.
And your best
Well,
long shot play, would that be Modernist?
yes. Good answer. I like that. He'll probably go off longer than the 15-1. That's probably the right way to do it.
Yeah, that's the way I'm going to go. Like I said, I'm going to just hope that because again, even some of these horses outside, even Sol Volante is like you said, there's reasons to explain it, but hey, it's still a very short period of time to come back from a race, so
Yeah,
there is a definite gamble there.
that he's shipping up from Florida. I mean, it's still a ship. It's not like he's running at his home
That's
track.
true too.
No.
Yes. So yeah, so that's why I'm going to go ahead 3-4 with the favorite. You'll take 9-2 with the favorite, but you'll go ahead and let me ask you then with the double. Who did you take? Let's see. You took the 4, but that unfortunately was sort of like a favorite. So give me a horse in the 9th to go with the favorite.
Yeah, there really isn't, unfortunately.
I mean, in the 9th, yeah. Let's see.
I'll tell you something though. I do like a horse in the 11th race.
In the 11th, okay. So you could do a reverse double. You can go the 10th to the 11th.
Right. In the 11th race, I like the number 7 horse in here, a Monarch's Glen. This horse is 10-1. He comes from a terrific trainer named Danny Gargan. This is an improving horse. He's getting better, and he's 10-1. You may want to play a double that way.
11th race.
Number 7.
Number 7. That sounds good because you got to give us one long shot here besides.
Yeah, you got to get you some value somewhere because that's the name of the game.
What's the schedule like after this week?
Well, Santa Anita closes Sunday, so we'll have they go to Los Alamitos for a couple of weeks before Del Mar starts. Saratoga starts in the middle of July, so we may have another week at Belmont with some races coming up, or maybe Churchill next week. We'll check the schedule, see what's
so
going
it's
on.
Belmont for another week, and then Saratoga in a couple of weeks.
No, it's Belmont for a couple of more weeks, and then
weeks.
It starts July 17th. We're only at June 20th tomorrow, so
I'm just trying to speed things up for football season. That's all. I can't stand this anymore.
Unless you told Dr. Fauci, who's Dr. Doom.
Yeah, nobody listens to him anymore.
Not anymore.
No, the only people who listen to him are the doomsday lovers, the ones who like negativity.
Dr. Gloom and Doom.
Yes. Everything else going okay, sir?
All good. Thank you.
Hold on. We'll talk to you right after the show. And, John, I appreciate it as always. Your website, once again, is what?
Well, they can go to thesheets.com if they want to order sheets, or if they want to get a press kit on how to read the sheets. You can just go to the website, thesheets.com.